What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to get into our race day updates for round number 6 at RedBud. So as always, first up, we're going to get right into our injury updates. In the 250 class, Julian Beaumer went down pretty hard last weekend, and he did suffer a bad concussion. He will not be with us this weekend. RJ Hampshire was hoping to return this weekend, but it sounds like he's still going to be out. Possibly going to be able to return for Washougal, but not sure yet. He's going to be out this weekend regardless. And there's also that same laundry list of riders that are out on the 250 class. Don't need to go through all of them, but none of them are returning. In the 450 class, the big breaking news this week is Jet Lawrence is out for Pro Motocross. He will not be returning. He tore his UCL ligament in his thumb. He already had surgery over 4th of July, so he's hoping to return for SMX. It's basically the exact same injury that Cooper Webb is working on coming back from right now. Also, Justin Barcia is going to be out this weekend, so he has both of his knees pretty banged up, so he doesn't need surgery. He's just going to take some time off and hopefully come back for the last few rounds of motocross. As far as Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, and Ken Roczen, none of them are returning this weekend, but Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen are both confirmed to be back on the bike. It sounds like Cooper Webb is going to try to come back for round number 9 in Unadilla, and Eli Tomac is hoping to come back for round number 10 in Budds Creek. Not sure exactly when we can expect Ken Roczen back, but he did confirm that he's trying to come back for a few rounds of the Pro Motocross Series as well. We do have some guys returning to Pro Motocross this weekend who are not injured, but they're just making a return. Most notably, Brock Tickle will be out there this weekend on the factory Kawasaki, so essentially Adam Cianciarulo's bike. Look out for Brock out there. Be cool to see what he can do. And then on top of that, Dean Wilson is going to be making another run out there, so cool to see him back out there. And then Kevin Morans will be returning for the series for the first time this year as well. Moving on to the top 5 in the points in both classes. In first in the 250 class, obviously, is Hayden Deegan with 238 points, ironically enough. Then behind him, all the way 42 points back, is going to be Chance Hymas. So Chance definitely needs to have a little bit of a rebound from last weekend. He didn't have the best results. He was still really solid, but when compared to the rest of his season, it wasn't quite up to par. But obviously, Southwick is a very different track than everything else we've raced on this year, so I do look for him to at least be back in the top 5 this weekend. Then right behind him, 43 points back, is Tom Vial. So Tom and Chance are probably both out of the title at this point. Really, the only one who can lose it is going to be Hayden Deegan himself. He's going to need a mechanical or some sort of crash or something like that to give the points lead back up at this point. He's very dominant, and it's really his race to lose, or his championship to lose at this point. But look for Tom to try to keep his momentum rolling. He definitely had some good speed in Southwick. He didn't get the win like I'm sure he was hoping to do, but he definitely showed that he's right there. I'm sure he's hoping to get off to a good start and hopefully put up a good battle for the moto wins. Right now, him and Chance are basically tied for second in the points, so look for them to duke it out as who is going to be the true second place guy behind Deegan. Behind them in 4th, we have Levi Kitchen. So we saw Levi do really well at round number 1, and ever since then, it's been kind of disappointing. Nothing majorly disappointing, but nothing really spectacular either. Now, Levi did catch and pass Hayden in the second moto last year, and he ended up winning the moto. So maybe Levi can feel good this weekend. Hopefully he can have a little bit of a rebound and be in the fight this weekend. But he hasn't looked that great, especially at the end of the moto. So keep an eye on Levi. If he can get a good start, maybe he can put something together. Rounding out the top 5, we have Joe Shimoda. So Joe has done really well here in the past. He didn't do exceptionally well last year, but he has had great success at RedBud. He's coming off of a moto win. Do not count him out. If he gets out in front, he might not let it go. Then I just want to give an honorable mention to Ty Masterpool, who has worked his way all the way up to 6th in the points, right behind those guys. And the reason I want to mention him is not because he's a fill-in rider, but because he's had a lot of success at RedBud. So in 2020, Ty actually got the whole shot and led a lot of laps before he ended up coming home in 3rd place in the moto. Then in 2022, he ended up leading some more laps again on a privateer KTM. And then last year in 2023, he started in 2nd, right behind Jet Lawrence in both motos, and rode really well. The point I'm trying to make is that Ty has a lot of experience riding at the front of the field at this track, so he's going to be comfortable if he can get out front or near the front, and he's already won a moto and an overall. So if you combine the fact that you know how to win an overall now, and you know how to ride out in front in this track, if he can get off to a hole shot, you never know what to expect out of Ty Masterful this weekend. He could do something similar to what we saw in High Point again this weekend. Moving on to the 450 class, like I said, Jet Lawrence is not going to be racing with us this weekend, so unfortunately he is no longer in the title fight. But out in front we have Hunter Lawrence. So Hunter is out in front with 213 points, and then behind him Chase Sexton is only 3 points back, so not a lot of a gap there. Then now in third place we have Justin Cooper, who is 37 points back, and then behind him we have Aaron Plessinger, 51 points back. And then rounding out the top 5, we have Dylan Ferrandis, 61 points back. So Chase, this weekend, he is going to be racing at RedBud, which is basically like a home track for him. He grew up about 3 hours away, so he definitely has some good track time on the track. RedBud was the first track that he returned to last season after his injury at the start of the season, and he didn't ride exceptionally well. He was on the podium, but he wasn't really able to give Jet any run for his money, so I don't know that he feels overly comfortable at this track. I was hoping to see a little bit more out of him last year, and I was a little bit disappointed. So hopefully we won't have the same results this year. Obviously he's coming in healthy, so that should help him. It'll be interesting to see the dynamic between him and Hunter, who got hurt at this track off of the start last year, and that ended up really putting a damper on his championship run. He obviously ended up still taking home the championship, but it made things a lot harder on him when he went down off the start and he had to come back from that injury. Neither one of these guys seem to feel exceptionally good at this track, but they're also both really good riders, so it would not surprise me for either one of them to take home the win. But I'm curious to see if guys like Justin Cooper or Dylan Ferrandis, or even maybe in like an Aaron Plessinger, could get in there and maybe challenge for a moto win at some point. As far as Justin Cooper goes, he's now well solidified into the third place in the championship, which is really good. I don't think that he would have expected that coming into the season. So hopefully he can just keep the ball rolling, continue to build momentum. And if he keeps going at the rate he's going, I would not be surprised to see him get a moto win before the season's over. As far as Aaron Plessinger goes, he's doing the same exact thing he did last season. He's scoring points in every moto. He was the only guy to score points in every moto last year, other than Jet Lawrence. So he's staying consistent, he's staying smooth. He had that moto that he almost won back in Hangtown. So if he can get out in front and do something like that again, you never know what Aaron can do. But for now, I look for him to just hover right around that top 5. And then with Dylan Ferrandis, the same thing can be said, but he did make that motor change over the break a couple weekends ago, and it seemed to really help him in Southwick. He did go down on the start of moto number 1, so it looked like he wasn't riding that good, but he was actually coming up through the field very strong, and he finished very well, and he was able to salvage a top 5 overall. So he could be coming around. It'll be interesting to see how he can do. He finished second in moto number 2 at RedBud last season, right behind Jet Lawrence. So you know he feels comfortable here, and you know that he could be looking for a potential podium this weekend with Jet Lawrence being out. As far as the track and weather goes, no major things to report. They did move the starting gate position back to where it was before in 2022. So now it's just basically a straight shot into a 180-degree right-hand turn. But other than that, no major track changes. The leap is still going to be a left-handed 90-degree turn into Larocco's leap. I know some people preferred the 180-degree turn. If you guys want to see a full story about RedBud and how Larocco's leap came to be, we just did a video on that, which I will throw in the description below. RedBud and Larocco's leap have quite the interesting history, but all that being said, no major track changes this year. The weather is looking good. It's going to be in the mid-70s. There was a little bit of rain in the forecast earlier on this week, but it looks like that has cleared up. So everything seems to check out. Should be some great racing on some great racing conditions. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure you guys are too. And that's going to go ahead and do it for your race day updates. Definitely let me know down in the comments below. Who do you guys have as your podium picks this weekend? Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.